Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our UCLA Staff Assembly Learn at Lunch. Our UCLA Staff Assembly Board 2022 to 2023 is going to introduce what is Staff Assembly, how you can get involved, and a lot of the benefits that come with being part of the UCLA Staff Assembly organization. We're going to give it a few more minutes for the remainder of our participants to attend, and then we're going to begin the presentation. So thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and begin our UCLA Staff Assembly Learn at Lunch. So our agenda for today is discussing what Staff Assembly is. We're going to go into volunteer opportunities. The executive board will share their positions and provide information. And next we'll discuss the campus committees as well as the Staff Assembly social media. And we will conclude with questions and answers. Thank you so much. So what is Staff Assembly? Staff Assembly is an organization for staff by staff. It was founded in 1978. It is supported by the Office of the Chancellor and Campus Human Resources. Staff Assembly serves as an advisory body, and we provide to the university administration a lot of the issues that our UCLA staff and faculty have. Through various educational, social, and community programs that we host. The goal is to foster staff engagement and to create a community where staff are involved and giving back to the campus and the community. In addition, Staff Assembly provides two-way communication system that promotes respect and cooperation across different members in our UCLA community. A lot of the benefits of being involved with UCLA Staff Assembly is the leadership opportunities, the ability to network, have opportunities for personal and professional development. And this is kind of where the Learn at Lunch programming comes into play. We introduce a lot of the different departments and different organizations and opportunities for you to be involved. And the goal is always for staff to learn something new during our Learn at Lunch hour. In addition, being able to serve on major campus and system-wide committees. We welcome all campus and health staff to volunteer and be part of our community. UCLA Staff Assembly is made up of volunteers, and we're all staff at UCLA. We have support from our supervisor, and we do a lot of the work that we do on our free time. And we're excited to have you potentially join the team and give back. So thank you so much. Anna?
Hi, thank you. I'm Anna Esquivel, the current president of Staff Assembly. Thank you all for joining us here today. As we go along, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And Lucy and others will be monitoring it, and we'll try to address all your questions here today. So thank you again. And as Gayan mentioned, the volunteer opportunities. So there's multiple ways to get involved. You can either become a board member or just be involved in a one-off committee, or you may also recommend something for us to take on and introduce as part of Staff Assembly, anything that will help promote staff's well-being, as Guyon mentioned also, and advocate for you, whether there's new policies and procedures that are added throughout the UCLA system. You know, we can address those and give feedback. So here's a list of some of the items. It's not inclusive of everything that we do, but you know, for one, you can run for a board position, and sometime in maybe early April, we'll kick off with more education on how the elections will be and participate that way. You can join a task force. Staff Assembly members volunteer. We sit on different task force throughout the organization. One of the ones is with the police department. We present the staff view. We hear what's coming up and be able to advocate for you. I sit on an infectious disease management committee where we talk about whether it's COVID, monkeypox, and other diseases that might come along the way, and how to address whether we enforce masking or not. So when we hear from you, we take what you share with us. You can join committees. We have different committees that we're part of, and we'll dive into those later on in the presentation. And those would be the campus committees. Those are by appointment. You can just become a general volunteer, like the All Staff Social. You can sign up to receive our newsletter to stay up to date. Follow us on social media. And you know, another way to help support Staff Assembly is donating to our Spark campaign, or at least spreading the word, because we do award scholarships. So thank you. Next slide. All right, the Staff Assembly Executive Board is comprised of about 14 voting members and 3 non-voting members. The majority of the positions require a 1-year commitment, but there are 2 exceptions. And in this slide, I want to highlight the bigger of the exceptions is the presidential track. That is a 3-year commitment. And as Guyon mentioned earlier, it's really important that you get the support and approval from your direct supervisor, because we do this work on behalf of the Chancellor's office. He looks to us to help bring to him and advocate for staff on his behalf. And for the 3 years, oh, can you go back? You start off by the president-elect is year 1. That's where you're learning what would be required of you as a president, and you take on some responsibilities. In year 2, you're the president, and in year 3, you're the immediate past president. As part of your role as the president on Staff Assembly, you get to appoint 2 members at large. There's a campus member at large, and that individual helps make sure that they provide outreach on the campus side and bring to your attention any themes or issues, concerns that might be circulating throughout the campus. And then there's a health member at large that helps do that on the health system side. So this helps us bridge that gap, because I work on the health system side and do not necessarily know what's going on the campus. So this helps us make sure that we are as inclusive as we can be. So again, the president rolls a 3-year commitment. Next slide, please. Now here are the rest of the board positions. So these are the other executive board positions. They're all elected and they're voting members. We have creative production that helps create our graphics. And we'll have more details. Each individual is going to speak. There's VP of development for fundraising, VP of digital engagement, who manages our social media, VP of events that helps us put on events, VP of finance. That is the second exception. As I mentioned, majority of the roles are 1-year commitments. This role is a 2-year commitment. And the end of this 2-year is at the end of June this year. So there's an opportunity, if you're interested in finance, to submit your application and run for that position. But remember, it's a 2-year commitment. Make sure your supervisor knows it's a 2-year commitment. Information systems, that helps with our website. Outreach, that helps us do outreach and share Staff Assembly with other departments. VP of programs, that manages the Learn at Lunch and other programs. Records and archives, that helps prepare our agenda, take minutes. And most recently, we've started archiving and prepared an inventory of our supplies. So we finally have a centralized place to store our items. VP of Special Projects that does special projects, for example, the events with Mrs. Block, and VP Strategic Communications that helps put together our newsletter or come up with content for our newsletters as well. And VP of Wellness, who helps put together events related to our employee wellness. And so next slide. So now we'll kick it off with each executive board member presenting. So we'll start off with Grace.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm Grace Francisca. I'm the VP of Wellness for this year. And the VP of Wellness, as Anna mentioned, is the one who deals with wellness. We put on events, programs that deals with physical, and just for my own alignment, I also like to do programs related to DEI and financial wellness, as well as mental wellness. And in addition to putting on these programs, you can also serve on various wellness committee, such as the Semel Health Campus Initiative, Wellness on Campus, Disability Awareness on Campus, and Sustainability. We work closely with Semel. We have a garden plot up in Sunset Recreation that if you are on campus, you're more than welcome to go and help plant. And we also do the 5K virtual walk, fitness for fun, things like that. And I also have my amazing co-lead Natalie here, who has been helping me. Natalie, do you want to say anything in addition to that?
I think the opportunity to be a co-lead is a great way to be involved with Staff Assembly and support the work of the group, and also like learn and have an opportunity to partner with one of the VPs. So that's just, I guess, a little known secret. So I'm happy to be here in that space.
Thank you, Natalie. And if you have any questions, feel free to email Staff Assembly or email me directly. And next, I will turn it over to our VP of Creative Production, Dana.
Thank you, Grace. Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Schmitz, VP of Creative Production, and I don't have my Zoom background on that everyone else has that I made. So that's one thing you do as VP of Creative Production. I was running a little late today, but hello. So basically this role designs and creates creative pieces for Staff Assembly. It's primarily been a lot of digital, just in general, because of the digital environment we live in, but also because we still are a little bit hybrid. So I'm sure there'll be more print production of creative pieces later on, but this role, primarily we work in Adobe Illustrator because a lot of the historical files and templates we use are in there, but really Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign work, just as well. So if someone is interested in the position and wants to use one of those platforms, they're more familiar with it, that is fine too. So yep, everything listed there is something that we've done, but usually it's a lot of digital graphics and some signage, which was done from the All Staff Social last year. So working on trying to streamline as much as possible. And this role also coordinates with our event folks and special projects folks, along with development and wellness and communications and like our website folks. So if you're interested, please email me. I will put my email in the chat if you have questions. And yep, that's all. I am really, really sorry, Guy, and I don't know who's next, so I'll let you take it from there. Thank you.
No problem, Dana. I'd like to introduce our Vice President of Development, Tulasi.
Hi, I'm the Vice President of Development for UCLA Staff Assembly. This is my first year here, and the team is so friendly. As a Vice President, I help identify fundraising opportunities for the Staff Assembly and coordinate the cultivation and solicitation of gifts and donations in an effort to sustain and the organization and support staff engagement. For example, we have aimed for raising $4,000 from 100 donors through Spark campaign, but we raised $4,054 from $1 or $2, thanks to all our donors from UCLA and their friends and family who donated. We also partnered with the VP of Events and conduct virtual 5K run and small business resource fairs previously. I would like to thank all our internal and external partners who have been there, like UCLA Retirees and UCLA Credit Union. Thank you. And I'm not sure either who is next. I'm sorry. Okay.
Next is our VP of Digital Engagement, Esmeralda. She's not here, so I will speak on her behalf. So our VP of Digital Engagement is primarily responsible for maintaining our social media presence and working closely with other members of the board. One of the things is promoting staff engagement on the multiple platforms. So we have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Also within the social media engagement is posting pre and post any events that we have and tracking any of the tags where you tag a UCLA Staff Assembly for events and giving shout outs for the staff who are spotlighted in our newsletter. So that's for digital engagement. So if you're interested in social media and managing that, this is a great way of doing it. If you want to become more proficient, you know, all these different roles allow you the opportunity to learn a new skill that you may not have or don't have in your current work environment. So next slide. So now VP of Events, Heidi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Heidi Martinez, and I'm the Vice President of Events. Some of the events that I'm responsible for this past year was the All Staff Social and a Staff Appreciation Week. I was able to partner with several departments on the campus side, from catering to just the production of everything. Some of the board members that I work with are digital engagement, creative production, Stratcom/IT, and of course, closely with our president and development. Our executive board elections was another event that I participated in. And lastly, our breakfast with the chancellor, which is taking place on this Wednesday, March 9th from 8:30 to 10. Please apply if you are interested in participating. And also, while we were down a special projects vice president, I also stepped in, and there's a slide later on that Anna will communicate the different projects that I assisted with as well. And so these are signature events for our campus. The time commitment, depending on the event, but I'd say the most time that you're going to spend is for the All Staff Social. That was definitely our biggest event. We basically started in May and it took place in August. And I would say the time commitment was about closer to the end, 10 hours a week, where you're planning and meeting with the president and all these different departments to ensure a seamless product. And I enjoy volunteering with Staff Assembly and being creative. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Heidi, and good afternoon, Staff Assembly. My name is David Rodriguez, and I am the VP of Finance for this year. So it is my pleasure to present to you today what the job entails and duties and responsibilities in my role. So as Anna mentioned earlier, this is a 2-year commitment, and we do a lot. We do a lot of things, and it's very important that we keep crisp record keeping and accounting to make sure that we're using our donor monies the way that they were intended to be used. For example, we have an endowment with the University Credit Union. We want to make sure we use those funds for scholarships. We also receive funds from the Retirement Association, and we want to make sure that we distribute those funds accordingly. And you know, there's many things I could go down the list, but you get the point. we have to make sure that we're very organized and that we have good record keeping, and that we're presenting to the board at our meetings our financial balances. And you're really a liaison between the board in all terms of with anything that has to do with our financials. And you also get to co-sign with the president for any funds that are coming in or out as directed by the board. And then we're voting members for the board, which is also an important role. And then some of the requirements are being familiar with the campus policies and procedures, because we use all the campus systems, as you'll see here listed below. We use Brew and Buy for our scholarship reimbursements and buying things like for our all staff picnic and other scholarship and activities that we have throughout the year. We have Travel Express for our president and president-elect that go to our CUCSA for representing us, at the UC level. And UC payroll and other UCLA financial systems, and being familiar with the UCLA Foundation. And then lucky for you, we have very good record keeping this year, thanks to Anna, who's been very helpful, and Lucine, who's also been very helpful in making sure that we know all of our accounts and how much money is in each one of them and what they're supposed to be used for. So if you have any interest in finance or are in fund management, or if you're a purchaser or you just want to learn more about this, please get involved. It is a very rewarding role to be part of staff assembly, part of the executive board, and be able to give back in this way and help other staff get scholarships and help at least in the back end with the all staff picnic and things like that. So I highly recommend it, and please feel free to reach out to me with any additional questions or comments. I'll leave my email address in the chat and my LinkedIn so you guys can find me. Thank you so much. And with that, I'll pass it on to our VP of Information Systems. Thank you.
Thanks, David. My name is Raymond Huang. I'm the VP of Information Systems. So if you are excited about IT in general, or curious about web content management or user experience, this could be a position for you. So as VP of Information Systems, I maintain the UCLA Staff Assembly web presence in WordPress. And I also interface with a VP of Events, Special Projects, Creative Projects to make various updates to the website and help promote the Staff Assembly events. And I also manage the YouTube channels, uploading the videos and keep the content fresh. And in this role, you also have the opportunity to use Google Web Analytics if you choose to. Honestly, I haven't been exploring that area, but there is the platform there, and you can use it to analyze web traffic and inform the board as needed. And you also get to maintain the Staff Assembly listserv on Google Groups, and you will be able to participate in the campus-wide IT initiatives and focus group and network with people in that field. And also I generally provide some technical guidance and also initiative as well. For example, recently my project was migrating our Slack channel from the Slack workspace from the free version to the enterprise grid. So you get to work on different projects as well. I was part of the UCLA mobile focus group for their app. So it was very exciting to be part of a greater community and to be able to contribute to UCLA. In terms of time commitment, it doesn't require a lot of time of your time. I basically spend probably an hour weekly to just observe, as people sign up for listserv, I need to be able to add them, so that takes some time. And the commitments are kind of seasonal because in certain months we have a lot of projects, events we need to post. So that takes a lot of time. But other than that, it's very, I think so also like everyone else was saying, it's very rewarding experience and opportunity to be able to just network with people outside that you normally work with. So that was a plus for me. And that's it. With that, I'll pass on to the VP of Outreach.
Hello, thank you, Raymond. My name is Kelly Goodman. This is actually my third year of being VP of Outreach for Staff Assembly. So I guess you can say, yeah, I do find it very rewarding. As people have mentioned, one of the most important things I've found is being able to network with other people. I've developed so many relationships that I never would have met. When I first took over VP of Outreach, it was right in the middle of the pandemic, so there was pretty much no outreach. There's no tabling, there was no nothing at that point. So it really was communicating with people by Zoom or email. And it was just, I never would have met those people, especially working from home. One of the great things too, as Heidi mentioned, she works closely with a lot of other board members, as do I. When people need, can you contact this group? Can you contact this group? That's one of the things that the outreach person is responsible for, or I happen to, because I do have a lot of contacts on campus, which I'm always happy to help. But really our goal, my goal, your goal, should you choose to run for this position next year, is to really get the word out. And as many people have said before, we're not just the group that has the picnics and gives out cookies and stuff. We really do advocate for staff on many levels. And as David David mentioned, we advocate at the UC level, we advocate all over. And, by staff for staff is not just a cute little moniker. We really are here to help our fellow staff members and make the working experience for the campus community a better one. And that's, it's a great, I believe in the product I'm selling. So how could I not love this position? The output, the time commitment, depending on, as others have said, depending on if we have events coming up or whatever, I would say it's 6 to 8 hours at the maximum a month. And again, as Anna mentioned earlier, to have the support of your supervisor is really important. And I'm very lucky. For 3 years, I've had the support of my supervisor. So it's just, and the other thing I would say is, even if you'd say, I don't have the time for a position, please get involved in one of the task forces. That was one of the most rewarding things that I've done. At the very beginning of the pandemic, I sat on the employee engagement remote and working conditions task force. And we got heard in front of the chancellor, and we wrote a white paper on how employees can better be served. And, we are heard, and you don't get a lot of chances in the workplace to be heard. And I really, really suggest that if you want to be heard, this is a great way to do it. So with that, thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to toss it over to our lovely hostess, Gayan, VP of Programs.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Hi, everyone. My name is Gayan. I am the Vice President of Programs. So I am responsible for hosting our Learn at Lunch programming. I've really, this is my first time being part of UCLA Staff Assembly. I was hired as a UCLA employee in 2020, which is pre-pandemic. And so a lot of my experiences have been virtual. But as a new employee, I really wanted to give back and to join a community, because working from home, you don't really have that sense of community at UCLA. And so this was an opportunity for me to get involved. And I have to say, I've really enjoyed my experience. It's been amazing. I've done a lot of different programming that UCLA staff and faculty are interested in. The whole point of the Learn at Lunch programming is to learn something new, to network, to learn about different departments, different resources that are available to UCLA staff and faculty and, be able to take advantage of all that is being offered. So previously, some topics that we've had for Learn at Lunch programming has been wellness. We have retirement coming up. We have finance. We collaborate with UCLA Athletics, and we host our Fan Fridays, which is going to be held again in the fall. This is where we collaborated with the UCLA Athletics director, and we were awarded a certain number of tickets where UC staff can enjoy and attend and be part of the athletics at UCLA and be a support system. I want to also advertise our upcoming Learn at Lunch from I Quit to I Fit, Psychological Resilience for Breakthrough Success, hosted by Dr. Andrea Latamindi. This is in collaboration with VP of Wellness, Grace. It's been really nice to collaborate with so many of the board members and so many UCLA staff, hearing your opinions, what kind of projects you want to get involved with, what programs do you want to hear about. Having that communication is really beneficial. So thank you for that. I'm gonna continue on and introduce our next presenter, Vice President of Records and Archives.
Thank you. Yes. My name is Douglas Ruiz Carbajal. I'm your Vice President of Records and Archives. It's my first year on the board, and I'll just start by saying that this specific role is a great experience to start getting involved in the Staff Assembly Board, as you get to learn a lot about the work of all the board members and have a lot of opportunities to connect on various projects. The main responsibilities of for this role, you maintain the records for the board meetings, so setting up the agenda and connecting with the board members to set that up and then record the minutes during the meetings. We also collect the board member updates. So this is inclusive of getting like updates on potential like project timelines or events, event management as well, in terms of just aggregating all of those into one location for at least the board's members to be able to review. We also, or this role also assists with ad hoc requests, and that ad hoc request really comes down to those opportunities and assisting with special projects. And some things that are related to this role will be like end of year reporting, and additional kind of board member support on various projects that this role has the opportunity to collaborate on. And then documenting events and maintaining archives. So this is inclusive of that end of year reporting. So we want to kind of collect all the information from our various events and help with some of our board members in creating a summary of all kind of our work in the year. And not listed here, but as Anna mentioned in the beginning, we also recently acquired some storage space, which is very nice for our board. So this role is now actually also involved with maintaining our inventory management for our private space at Murphy Hall. And this kind of goes along with like kind of UCLA initiative of trying to be more green and kind of reusing a lot of our materials. So at least centralizing that and having it all in one place and actively managing that is I think a nice benefit now that we have. I think other items I just want to note for this role is that just accuracy is just very important in terms of documenting minutes. You should ideally be planning to be present at all board meetings, which currently occurs every other week. Things to highlight for this role as well is just you have the extensive opportunity to get involved and collaborate with all the board members on a variety of projects. And I know I myself have not been able to tap into all of those opportunities, but I know they are there. And overall, it's just a rewarding experience to be able to work with just another group of passionate individuals that you otherwise would not have likely had the opportunity to meet and interact with. So I think it's a nice benefit for any kind of one of our roles. But yeah, that's a summary for our records and archives. So with that, I'll switch it over to Anna for I believe special projects.
Yes, thank you. So our Vice President of Special Projects unfortunately wasn't able to make it. His name is Adam Feldman. So I will try to do him well and speak on his behalf. So a couple of the events that the VP of Special Projects does is organize Meet the Leaders. And this year we have lunch scheduled with the UCLA Health System President, Jonice Bizo. And as Heidi mentioned before, she has actively participated also in putting on some of these events. And Adam recently joined us, so now she has help to take that on. Another event is the Emerging Research Speaker Series, which is in the process of being rescheduled due to some other circumstances. We've had to move that date, but that's a speaker that we have lined up. And then we also, the VP of Special Projects also puts together the awards and scholarship ceremony and the nomination process. So we've yet to pin down the date to kick this off, but keep an eye out for an opportunity to apply for a scholarship or nominate, you know, one of your colleagues for the Kevin McCauley Memorial Outstanding Staff Award. And also there's a Chancellor's and Excellence Award, and that one comes with a financial stipend. Last year, 50 scholarships were awarded, and this is why the Spark campaign is so important. This is why we need everyone's help to reach out to your family and friends. Every dollar counts. This past year, I think we raised a little bit over $4,000. So thank you very much to anyone who donated and helped. And you can continue to donate throughout the year. We'll send some information about that at the end of the presentation. And one of the other signature events that's put on together by the Special Projects VP is Outdoors with Mrs. Block. Mrs. Block is Chancellor Block's wife, and as part of her role as the First Lady of the UCLA campus, she puts on these outdoor events and hosts us at the soccer game. She hosted us for breakfast prior to the game, and there's activities that take place during these events. She's going to be hosting an event where we walk through downtown LA and get to see certain points of interest in the downtown LA area. So there's different things coming up that we're working on with Mrs. Block. So thank you. VP of Strategic Communications, I will speak on this one as well. As we've been mentioning, our roles here are volunteer roles that we do in addition to our day job. So the goal is to volunteer and do this during your work time, and not that you have to commit your evenings and weekends, although I think every one of us has probably committed some weekend and evening hours to making sure that we advocate and continue to do the job that we volunteered to do. And this is why it's important that your immediate supervisors are aware and support the time commitment. So the VP of Strategic Communications, unfortunately, recently resigned because of the work commitments. And now together as a board, we met earlier today to discuss how to fill this role. And thank you to those who have already reached out with interest in this role. But what the VP in this role does is put together our newsletter, addressing the newsletter submissions that different departments submit through our website. With it, some departments also pay to have additional postings. They manage the communication with our finance officer to make sure that we collect those funds. Those funds go into our scholarship funds. So that's how we continue to create revenue, in addition to the endowment that David reviewed earlier. With the newsletter, there's different components to it. There's the events component, so the person in this position but works closely with everyone on the board to make sure that we publicize the upcoming events. There's also a staff spotlight, so they help promote to make sure that we spotlight a staff member throughout the campus with every newsletter. The newsletter goes out at least twice a month. And yeah, so that's pretty much in a nutshell. To put together the newsletter, you work with an application MailChimp, you work with Google Drive, you work with Google Groups. So there's an opportunity to become familiar with those applications and how to do this if this is something that you're interested in. So thank you. Next slide. The next one I will present on this as well, unless we have our members at large. No, okay, so I'll speak on behalf. So as I mentioned earlier, we have 2 non-voting positions, and these are very important because they help us make sure that we are aware of what's going on in the campus and the health side to make sure that we're advocating appropriately and bringing things to the attention of senior leadership on the UCLA campus, the health system, and all the way up to the office of the president and the regions. So these positions, excuse me, are appointed by the president. You will conduct projects and or duties as assigned by the president or committees because you get to work alongside any one of the members here. You maintain the staff volunteer database to make sure that we know who's offered to volunteer or be part of a committee, get involved with events like the Small Business Resource Fair, you know, as I mentioned, is working with the various board members, attend events. So when we have events, they can help us too to support and man those events, assist with elections, and just ensure that the committees are staffed. So that's that role in a nutshell. So if any of you work in the campus or health side and want to get involved, but maybe your commitment, you don't have a lot of time, this is a good way to do it without having a set structured event that you have to manage. So with that, I turn it over to our president-elect, Lucine.
Thank you, Anna. My name is Lucina Tarosian, and I am honored to serve as your UCLA Staff Assembly president-elect. As noted, the president-elect role is a 3-year commitment, serving as the president-elect or president in training during the 1st year, president during the 2nd year, and immediate past president during the 3rd year. The president-elect serves as the CUCSA first-year delegate. CUCSA, the Council of University of California Staff Assemblies, was founded in 1974 and comprises of delegates from all 10 UC campuses, agriculture and natural resources, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, and the Office of the President. In support of the mission of the University of California, CUCSA's purpose is to maintain and enhance communication within the university community in matters of interest to staff employees in accordance with California laws and Regents policies. The CUCSA delegation meets quarterly in person for 3 days to share organizational best practices, engage university leaders, and communicate and collaborate on issues of concern for UC staff. The delegates also serve on respective work groups that focus on staff needs and concerns. The president-elect supports all board initiatives and events. The president-elect promotes the interest and welfare of all staff employees and advocates on their behalf at UC Board of Regents meetings, meetings with university leaders, and all other opportune times. The president-elect serves as a member of campus committees and task forces on behalf of Staff Assembly and performs the duties of the president in their absence. Next, we'll go to Anna for the president role.
Thank you. So as Lucina mentioned, it's a 3-year commitment. We serve on CUCSA, and as the president, I'm the 2nd year delegate because I'm in the 2nd year of my term. If for some reason I cannot attend a CUCSA meeting, which those are quarterly, and you spend 3 days at a different UC organization, we can appoint a delegate, so I can reach out to anyone on the board to go on my behalf. We have an upcoming session in March, which will take place at UC Merced. So it's an opportunity to get to network with colleagues across the UC system, and also if you have an issue, something that's coming up in your own departments, you have this extended network of colleagues, not only the colleagues that you serve on within the Staff Assembly. And if we have time at the end, I'm going to ask each board member to just share what department they work in. So you get an idea. I've met people from different areas of the university that outside of Staff Assembly, I would have probably never met. And then with CUCSA and being part of this board, now I get to meet individuals across the rest of the UC system, including the national lab. So it's not just the UC campuses. We sit on, as a president, you sit on different campus committees and task forces. I mentioned a couple in the beginning. I also sit on the SEML HCI Wellness Committee. And there are these ad hoc committees that the the chancellor's office will put together and request presence of somebody to represent the staff voice, and they reach, and staff assembly is the group that they come to. The president oversees communications on behalf of staff assembly. So all the communications that are put together, the president and the president-elect review. And as was mentioned earlier, our leader, our liaison is the administrative vice chancellor over campus human resources, Luby Levin. So we run things past her as well to make sure that we're in alignment with the appropriate messaging. We work closely, as David mentioned, with the vice president of finance to ensure that our financial records are up to date and we're managing our funds appropriately within all the guidelines. We advocate on behalf of the UCLA at UC Regents meetings. Lucine and myself have presented at the Regents meetings. One of the big advocacy roles that CUCSA played, so with all the representatives across the UCs, is last year went up to the Regents meeting and requested a 5% increase for policy covered staff. And at that meeting, the Regents approved a 4.5% increase. So that increase that was then approved by President Drake as well. So I want to make sure that you know that that's the level of advocacy that we do within staff assembly. Without that, policy covered staff probably wouldn't have received a raise last year, a merit increase. So this year, advocacy for an increase has gone out again. And what they've settled for right now is 4.6, but we're continuing to push for a higher amount. So until the budget is finalized, we won't know what we'll get, but at least we know they're contemplating 4.6 for this coming year. So that's, again, I want to drive how important what we do is we advocate for all of you. We volunteer our time for your behalf. You probably don't see this on a day-to-day, but this is what we're doing behind the scenes. And at the most recent meeting, which was hosted at UCLA, Lucine and I spent 3 days attending those meetings on your behalf, and we advocated there in person. And I went up and requested that the merit increase for policy covered staff be allocated across a 5-year period in alignment with the governor's budget plan that they're providing in the UC system. And also kind of aligns with what they do with union contracts, right? They go over across several years. We shouldn't have to go up in front of them to ask for money on an annual basis. They should think of us first. So that's what we do. We're very passionate about it. And also part of this role is you manage the other non-voting members. As I mentioned earlier, we have the members at large, but we also have a couple of key positions, chief of staff and the chief advocacy officer. Missing the R there, but yeah, so that's in a nutshell. Please feel free to reach out to me if you're interested. Again, as we mentioned before, 3-year commitment, great networking opportunity, and a great way to just pick up leadership skills. So thank you. And then I'll speak on this one as well. Immediate past president, as I mentioned, there is a 3-year commitment. Unfortunately, our past president left the UCLA organization and it left the position vacant. So between Lucine and myself, we've been managing this role. But next year, I will become the immediate past president and I get to mentor the incoming staff assembly board, managing the employee engagement survey that I think will come out next year for the campus staff. Engage with past presidents and past board members to continue our advocacy work and make sure that we'll continue to grow and improve on what we've done in the past, and just provide support with historical information to ensure a smooth transition. And then with this slide, you know, we've mentioned earlier that there are campus committees. So there are one-off committees that we'll create as part of our board, but then there are committees on campus that will request staff advocacy and staff participation. And these are some of them. There's the John Wooden Center Board of Governors. There's one position that serves a 2-year term. And there's an election process for these positions. And then the individual is expected to then report back to staff assembly because they're advocating on your behalf. There's the Student Conduct Committee. So 2 members from the staff sit on that committee, and it serves 3 years. There's a sustainability committee with 2 positions. It serves 1 year. There's the UCLA Committee on LGBTQ Affairs. There's 3 positions. It serves 2 years. And recently we put out a request for applications because there was a vacancy. So we hope to be able to appoint that 3rd person soon. And then the last one is the Committee on Disability. So that's 2 positions and a 2-year commitment. So here's another way to get engaged with Staff Assembly without being on the board, but having an important role by serving on our behalf on one of these committees.
Hello again. To learn more and stay up to date with UCLA Staff Assembly and all of our offerings, follow us on social media. Feel free to tag UCLA Staff Assembly in event posts and spread the word about what we do and how we serve you. To learn more about CUCSA and upcoming UC Board of Regents meetings, feel free to visit the websites provided. The next UC Board of Regents meeting at UCLA is scheduled to take place in May 16th through May 18th. Come join us or watch the live broadcast remotely. It's available through that link. Contact Staff Assembly to have your voice heard or submit a request to provide a public comment. On behalf of our entire Staff Assembly Executive Board of Volunteers and everyone who contributes to the success of Staff Assembly, we thank you for your time and the opportunity to share what is Staff Assembly. We are happy to address your questions and comments now. I know our awesome board members have been responding to the Q&A, but if anyone has any specific questions they'd like to add to the Q&A section, or if you raise your hand, we're able to unmute you and address your questions. If you think of something later, you're always welcome to email our Staff Assembly email list, and we can answer your questions there as well.
So I'm going to jump in really quickly. Somebody asked me to speak about how can I volunteer? So you can volunteer in many different ways. You can start off by just emailing the Staff Assembly email box at staffassembly@ucla.edu, or you can go to the contact us on our website, and then we can get back to you. Just let us know what you're interested in and why, and one of us will reach out and make contact with you. So that's one way to get started. And it's probably the best way to start off. But again, you can volunteer to partner up with anyone on the board. If you think you might be interested in that role, but you're not sure, just partner up and help with one project, and you'll get a feel for how things are done and what it's like. So I hope I answered your question. And again, the time commitment, I know some of you are asking about time commitment. The time commitment really depends on the project. And as Heidi mentioned, the one with the biggest commitment, and it's all hands on deck, is when we put together the yearly all-staff social. To give you an idea, last year, I think I spent 2 solid weeks just before the event, just doing the final touches. Because as the president, you have to make sure that it runs. We're the ones that put together the budget, and we work with the events office, and there might be like 10 to 15 other consultants that work with us, from parking, security, the fire department, catering, athletics, who helps us with ticketing, the chancellor's office, all the administrative vice chancellors, representatives. Yeah, so the list goes on. So that's the biggest thing. If you've ever wanted to learn how to put on an event, that's a great opportunity. Any other questions?
Any other questions, comments that we can help address? Then with that,
I was gonna say, if you think of it later, feel free to email us. We're always available. It might take us a day or 2 to get back to your message, because again, we're juggling the email between our day jobs, but happy to address any questions. Oh, there's one in the Q&A. Oh, you're welcome, Debbie. Thank you.
Okay, then with that, thank you again for joining us. Feel free to contact us should you have any questions, additional questions, or are looking for ways to get involved. We look forward to seeing you at our next Staff Assembly event. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.